My name is Noor Fidel, and I'm 18 years old. Originally, my parents are from Iraq, so they immigrated here like a while back.
My name is Noor Enaye. I am half French, half Syrian. I was born in France. I lived 11 years in France, 11 years in Syria, and I've been in Canada for about 15 years now. Being a Muslim woman living in Canada, I think I feel pretty lucky. Of course, sometimes there are some people where, they start saying things or act in a way that would make me a bit uncomfortable. And I know that few of the other Muslim women had pretty bad experiences.
In the younger ages before I would wear hijab, there wasn't really anything too big or noticeable that I experienced, any sort of racism or anything like that. It was all kind of subtle. When I first decided to wear the hijab, I felt like there was a different kind of perspective from people. Like beforehand, if anyone looked at me, it would just be people looking at me. But when I decided to wear it, it was kind of like I questioned why they were looking. Was it because of, what I was wearing or my appearance? Were they afraid of me? And personally, like before my experience, I have had, multiple kind of verbal assaults. People would, like during transit, would say certain things to me, or like when I got off, someone would say something to me. Like I've always had that kind of look of disgust from people.
I remember when there was the terrorist attack in Belgium, I was walking downtown and two different people walked by me and said the word terrorists. And it was painful because at the same time, that they are angry of what happened, but it makes you angry that you just want to stop them and tell them, well, I'm not like them. It's not my fault. I'm not part of that. And they also say it in a kind of a coward way where they say it and run away. So they don't even give you the chance to actually have a conversation with those people. When I take public transit, I had few experiences where I felt uncomfortable. For example, people saying words, or whether it's directly or indirectly to me. Sometimes I would ignore, sometimes I would ask why would they say that. One time I had a man who literally hit my face and turned back and started again saying things, but I was in shock that I couldn't understand what he was saying, so I can't really be sure that it was a kind of Islamophobia or he was just rude in general, but it's that kind of things that sometimes you wonder if you're safe or not.
I remember showing up to work and just telling myself, like, today is going to be a good day. Like, I'm going to be as positive as I can. And so taking the transit, it was okay. Like, it was fine getting to Waterfront. But it was the moment that I got to Waterfront Station is when I sat down a few seats away from some man. And that's when he got up while I had earphones in my ear and was talking to a friend. And he got up and he had this really aggressive look on his face. And so when he stood in front of me and I took my earphone out, you can just hear him like yelling all these like slurs to me in Arabic. He was like Arabic and like a different language. So it really took me back because, he was telling me that he was going to kill me and kill all Muslims and that I should go back to my country. And he was calling me like, profanity words. My body and my mind were not really processing any of it. And so I just remember kind of looking at the passengers on the train and, seeing, and there was people who were looking, but you don't really expect them to know what's going on since he was speaking in a different language that I don't think most of them would understand. But it wasn't until he actually tried to grab my head and force it onto his crotch. That's when I immediately backed up and like put my hands above my face, and I was looking again at the passengers because at this moment you would know that even if they didn't understand what he was saying, you knew that he tried to get physical. And I just remember being in that moment of him just constantly yelling, and he already tried to get physical at me once, and it wasn't until he hit me in the face that one bystander all the way at the end of the train just like run up and pushed the guy off and like away from me, and then he immediately backed up and just stood in front of me until the man got off the train the next stop, and that's when I called the police.
When that man hit my face, I was really in shock. I was really in shock, and I was kind of a bit disappointed in myself for not saying anything or turning back and just stopping him, asking why did he do that. You just feel that someone literally broke that personal barrier of yours. You know, your personal space has been literally broken. Whether we're Muslims, people of colors, the LGBT community, all those minorities live the same thing. People who hate them are actually ignorant about them.
I believe that the reason why people have certain beliefs and certain perspectives on certain people is because Western media, the way they the way that they show and project Muslim people, for example, you always see it as a negative term and like a negative thing and very violent and very aggressive. However, like in reality, that's really nothing what it is. And so I think that what media does is it really paints all of us in the same brush. And so when one person specifically commits one crime or commits some sort of, violent attack, it's like we are all to blame for it. And like we have this right away like feeling that we have to be the ones to apologize for these actions, although it had nothing to do with us. The thing that everyone says that racism in Canada doesn't exist, well, unfortunately it does, and it's kind of time for us to now, instead of just talking about it, take real action and be accountable for it and for the reality of it.